So we have to stop enabling people for the sake of being nice. Good evening. This is something that I've been saying for a long time now. And as we see events unfold like today, they become dangerous. What may seem benign to many really isn't. So let's talk about that. Let's unwrap that just a little bit. As I'm sure you're aware, we had a situation in D.C. today. And immediately, the conspiracy theories started flying. And anybody that knows me knows that I'm always down for a good conspiracy theory. But the thing of it is it actually has to be rooted in something. Actually has to be rooted in something. It can't just be somebody stretching, right, to be able to pull something together to have something to say, which is 9 times out of 10 what today's conspiracy theories are. They start out with people's feelings. That's nothing. That's based on nothing. You have to, it goes more than that. A gut feeling goes a little more than that, but what you see today really isn't gut feelings, they're emotions. And there's a big difference between a gut feeling and an emotion. I knew pretty quick when I got my hands on a copy of the video, which was pretty quick on. I knew moments after starting watching the video several things. Number one, the guy didn't have a bomb. Didn't. Yes, I could tell. There were many indicators. Many. I don't even, to be honest, know why the DC police and all those involved, all the agencies involved, I don't even know why they let him carry on the charade as long as what he did. I'm being real with you. Because I can't be the only cat that picked up on so many different things. And no, I'm not going to sit there and name all of those things tonight. There's reasons why. For one, it could probably get me in trouble. I'm not sure. But there were a number of things, and I can touch on a couple just to kind of give you an idea. I just ain't going to sit there and give you a grocery list. No, not me. So I immediately start looking for motives, and actual real motives with meat, right? Because that's the number one thing that I'm looking after in any situation is let's find the motive. And in the video, you could tell the motive by the emotion when he talked about it. And what triggered this individual was what is going on in Afghanistan. That was his last straw. Okay? Apparently, from my understanding, the gentleman had prior mental health issues, and from my observations, I would concur. And yes, I do know about that field. I guess I'll tell you a couple of things I noticed about the device. For instance, two things. I'll tell you these two things, and I'll leave it at that. He pointed out change in the vehicle. Now, for those that aren't aware of why that was something that he pointed out, is that's shrapnel. That's why he had all the change. That was representing shrapnel. Okay? Very devastating. if used correctly, which it wasn't. Well, he indicated that he in no means wanted to harm anybody, that he wasn't there to harm anybody, he didn't even want to harm himself. So then why the change? If you just want a boom, why the change? Because that change isn't going to take down buildings or structures. That change is meant to inflict mass casualties. So that didn't add up with his own story that came out of his own mouth. The other part of that is the change wouldn't have been sitting in totes or whatever on the floorboard of the vehicle. They would be epoxied or affixed to the device. That I can tell you, that's not anywhere getting towards telling you how to do things. The other thing was the device itself. Kind of a thin looking material, isn't it? So those that know anything about explosives and that type of activities knows that you're going to want a hard shell. In fact, the harder the shell, the more powerful the boom. That's the way it works. That's why if, for instance, you have a shotgun shell and you put it in a fire, it's going to flame up, but chances are nobody's going to lose an eye. Nobody's going to be shot to death. Why? Because the outside, and it doesn't have to be a plastic shotgun shell. You could do this with a 22 or whatever. Because in order for that to work properly, it has to be inside of the chamber, which holds its shape, so that the force, from the blast goes out the end of the barrel and not out every direction that it just freely could. Okay? I'm sure there's much better ways of explaining this to you, but yeah, if you have ammunition in a fire, there's a good chance that it's just going to pop. It's not going to start taking out everybody around it. That's a fact. That's a fact. So those two things alone was enough to tell me that this gentleman was absolutely full of crap. Why? Oh, well, didn't he say that it was a professional that built it for him, that he didn't build it, it was a professional that built it for him? Well, then a professional would have known those very basic things. I picked up on it moments into the video. In fact, I kind of clicked a little bit into the video after I downloaded it, and it was right smack on the point where he was showing the change, and I looked at that, and my eyebrow went up. I listened for a little bit and heard him talking about, some other dude that built it. One of the biggest problems is in today's society is people are looking for stuff that don't exist. They are looking for it. They're trying to create it out of nowhere. We have to stop that. Why? Because how many of those thoughts were in this guy's head before he showed up today in D.C.? How many of those crazy theories that have been going around for the past, at this point, 5 to 6 years, were running around in this guy's head? This is why it is an extreme danger to those of us that are truly just trying to hold on to the country that the founding fathers gave us. See, we're being demonized anyway from the get-go, just for wanting what we were promised when we came out of the womb. We are being demonized just for that alone. So adding things on top of it that aren't even true to begin with does not help the situation. And right now, we've got so many conspiracy theories out there, largely coming from one area, from a source that it blows my mind. It absolutely blows my mind that people can still continue to listen to that source and not figure it out. We have to stop dealing with those people with kids' gloves. What's one of the things to do if somebody's in shock? If somebody's in shock and they're absolutely inconsolable and not that you can't get their attention verbally, you can't do it. What do? One of the things is, yes, you slap them. Absolutely. There's a reason for that. There's a reason for that. Because their brain is kind of, in a sense, caught in a trance, and you need to break that trance, and that is what that contact does. That's what that slap does. It's kind of like a gunshot if you're drinking, and you're unaware there's going to be a gunshot. Sobers you up real damn quick. Same thing. Exact same thing. Although it works a little bit in some instances differently. But the same key players are involved. Adrenaline, yada yada. So that's what needs to be done to this community. This Q community is just one of them. There's the flat earthers is another. We've got a choice right now, and I do believe that time is not remotely on our side. We can either shut those people down, or we can let them shut us all down. Them meaning the government. Shut us all down. Using them as a cause. Because they're damn well on their way to do that. I still haven't heard anything yet as to any possible backlash from the events from today. I haven't heard nothing yet, and I'm sure it's coming. Likely we'll hear something tomorrow. But you better bet they're going to want to put some new laws in place, some new restrictions in place, and what have you. You know, but what kind of torqued me off today is you had people jumping on YouTube making videos talking about crap that wasn't even remotely true. Talking about how, he's got an AR-15 on his chest. No? Nah, brah, he didn't. Stop lying. Well, I was busy. I didn't have time to look into it myself. Yeah, whatever. Then don't get on YouTube and make a video about it. Until you do have time to sit down, because you're adding to the problem. I'm telling you, we got to take the kids' gloves off. Because if we don't put a stop to these insane theories, the government's going to put a stop to all of us. I can guarantee it. Because it is a danger. Absolutely is a danger. You may be fine, but not everybody is. Some people have mental issues. And part of those mental issues is mental episodes. And if we're feeding their brains with a bunch of nonsense, that could have dire consequences. And for what? Attention? Nah. We need to start shutting this down. Ourselves. Remember, I've been talking for how long now about how we need to have self-discipline. We have to police our own. In fact, I've gone into plenty of rants about policing our own. How the Republicans need to police their own. The Democrats need to police their own. The police need to police their own. The citizens need to police their own. That's the way it's supposed to work. We aren't supposed to be begging government entities to fix everything for us. That's how the hell we got here. Because we delegated everything. We outsourced everything, even our safety and security. And look at where that got us. I am concerned where this is going to take us. I'm very concerned. Because we have an administration right now. It's not even an administration, it's like a copying machine. Puppet master sends down the orders and the puppet signs them. And that's what we've got. We all know it. I think most of the left knows it. At this point. Good question. Good question. And if I'm wrong, I apologize, but I believe Jose is the name. He asked, with all the mandates, where do we draw the line, or do we just line up and walk up to the train? Very good question. And the answer to that is absolutely not. I've been begging that people start doing something now. Where? Well, not in D.C. at the library. You want to start at your local communities. Wherever that may be. If you have children, children in schools, public schools, then I highly recommend one place you start out is the school board meetings. Your town meetings. This has to, anything good has to come from the bottom up. We can't do the top down, and in fact, that would be a very dangerous move to do top down on anything right now. And the reason why I say that is because we are in a very fluid situation, and when I say that, multiple situations are extremely fluid at this particular moment in time. By the time they get around to quote-unquote helping you, there may be no top up there left to help you or able to help you. So start from the bottom up. Again, if you've got children in schools, you want to get active in the school board meetings. If your town is falling under restrictions that you feel are unconstitutional, then you need to show up at town board meetings. Yeah, you have to do this. You have to at least start out doing this through the proper channels. If you don't start out doing this through the proper channels, all you're doing is getting yourself in a bunch of trouble if all hell doesn't break loose, okay? The best one that I would know of to be able to help you with good information on that is Ammon Bundy. I definitely am not. I do not even remotely know that the proper avenues of redress of grievances like he does. So Ammon Bundy is absolutely the one to talk to on that. So yeah, I mean it's it's kind of crazy. It truly is. But yeah, no, don't ever get on that train. Don't let that train get rolling down that track. That's what I'm concerned of on that particular situation, is that folks are going to wait too long. They're going to let that train get a chugging, and it's going to be far too late before anybody even gets started. And that is a huge concern of mine because from what I'm seeing, a lot of folks are pushing it off as far as doing any resisting. And in fact, I saw a post on social media today, and it's with masks. I guess there's where they work at is requiring masks, and why he thinks that's awful crazy is because I think he operates a furnace, or he works in a something to do. It's hot, whatever it is that he works in. I can't remember exactly what he described it as, but it's really hot, and he's the only one in there. But the company now has a rule that he has to wear a mask, even though he's the only one in there, and it's really hot and going to make it really hard for him to breathe. And he had made a comment in the comments, I can't wait to get out of this damn state, Illinois. And, I chimed in like, that's the problem. Everybody wants to run from it. Everybody wants to run from it. And there's nowhere to run. There's nowhere to run, and I don't even want to hear Texas or Florida. I mean, I hope they hold out. Don't misunderstand me. But don't count on it. That's, again, like I was saying a minute ago about relying on top-down. That's relying on top-down. Don't do that. You're setting yourself up for a fall if you do. You have to go from the bottom up. Because if all those redresses of grievances fail and you have to go to the place that we all know about, you're going to have to do that from a local level. So you might as well start there. I'll tell you, I do think that we're in some dire straits, and what happened today isn't going to help any of it. Absolutely isn't going to help any of it. And we just have to be really mindful of these theories and stuff that we're throwing out there, this information and or misinformation that we're throwing out there. There's a responsibility to it. And I've said that ever since I started doing this show, is there's a responsibility to this, and I take it very, very seriously. I think we're going to be coming into a period of time to where we're going to see a lot of events happen like today, except not going to be fake. It's not going to be like this guy. This guy, even though he was obviously in distress, I believe 100% that he truly wanted to talk to Biden. And I believe 100% that he truly had a message for Biden, that there was something he wanted Biden to hear. And wanted to make sure that Biden heard it. I'm very careful when it comes to these particular situations, especially that involve mental distress, because of a number of reasons. First of all, I'm not one that just likes to point fingers because it makes things easier. I can justify an attitude or whatever the case. Nah, I want to know a little bit more into it. And I do have empathy for individuals that deal with mental health issues, absolutely. And I'm the kind of guy that instead of pointing and laughing or just trying to dismiss or justify or what have you, I want to know how his mind works. I want to know what makes him tick. I want to know what triggered him. I want to know what previous events in his life led him up to this. Why? Man, you know how easy it is to point and laugh at somebody or find bullshit reasons to justify? Hell of a lot easier than learning what it is to make people tick so that you could possibly help others later on. I've been looking at a lot of different things that the government is doing, readying, positioning, different things that they're putting in place. And at the same time, I am watching all of these different distractions getting thrown in our faces. Now, what happened today in D.C. was not a distraction. That is what it is. What happened in D.C. is what is on the surface, nothing more. And the same thing happened, what was it, Colorado, when all the conspiracy theories were flying because it just so happened to be, what was it, a cop watcher or something like that just happened to be at the supermarket and started filming immediately after the shooting. I want to say that was Colorado. If I'm wrong, I apologize. And so many conspiracy theories immediately were out there, and I said, nah. Because I just looked at the situation from a neutral standpoint. That's all. That's all. I just approached it from a neutral standpoint. I didn't walk into it with any preconceived thing that I wanted to see. That's the first mistake people make. Discernment is one of those skills that is going to be immensely important. If SHTF would happen and we would lose the grid, we would lose communications, we would lose everything, right? And you live in a small community like we do, and you're not holed up somewhere, and you go around and you see people, you need to discern whether or not that person is a threat or not. Now, you can't do that by what they say. We have become a society that is so dependent on words. And I'm telling you, if you had any idea of how many people lie, how often, why I can't stand to be around society? Because I pick up on that. I don't allow people to bullshit me. I can't, because it's an insult to my intelligence. And think of that what you will, but I think it's extremely disrespectful to lie to somebody and in effect insult their intelligence as if they didn't know better. To me, it's an extreme form of disrespect. And I was raised that way as well. I tried lying to my dad, but when I got caught, he caught me right upside the head. So I learned that lying wasn't a good thing at a young age. But beyond that, throughout my life, I've been a magnet for individuals like that. And I've largely had my life destroyed by liars. So yeah, I have a little animosity in me when people try to lie. And I'm good at picking up on it. I don't know why. I can't tell you why. I have no idea. I'm just really good at picking up on it. For one, the pattern thing. I'm really good at pattern recognition. I mean, insane good at pattern recognition and comprehension. And those two things, yeah, you can figure people out real quick. Real quick. Usually within first 3-5 minutes of a conversation. You can figure out a whole lot. Are they stopping videos from overseas? When you're asking overseas, do you mean Afghanistan, for instance, or do you mean anywhere? Or are you particularly talking about Afghanistan? Because, you know, to be honest, I'm not seeing a lot of anything coming in from across the pond or anywhere else, to be honest. Not seeing anything out of Afghanistan. I'm sure they've got that locked down. I have no doubt anything that is available there is pretty locked down as far as network type of connections, data connections. That whole situation, I've got my thoughts, but I'm just a dude sitting in his computer chair. I don't know nothing. But I know what my heart wants. My heart wants a nice big old group of Marines to go over there and light the way for all of our people. And anybody else's people that are trapped over there as well. I must include that. I don't believe that we should go in there and just worry about ourselves. We're the reason why those others are there to begin with. So I feel like the United States has a responsibility to them as well. But then, at this point, we need to secure the citizens of the different nations, and we need to level it. We need to level it. Just as a show of force. Because you can't just let terrorists take thousands of people hostage, because let's not make any mistake here. That's essentially what's going on. And not have any repercussions. I feel like this is the 80s all over again. I do. That's the feeling that I get. Except on a much grander scale. And if you're unaware of what I'm talking about, I'm talking about the deal with the hostages, the Iranian hostage situation that Reagan cleaned up. But yeah, I haven't seen anything out of there, and it's very limited that I'm seeing out of other countries where things like protests and stuff are going on. So pretty much across the board, there's not much coming in from other countries that I see, and nothing out of Afghanistan. Absolutely, I've not seen nothing. I mean, it's like a blackout. So I don't know if somebody's got control of the networks there, or if there are any networks. I mean, they may have everything down. I don't know. So, and when I say they, it could be any of the players involved. It could be us. It could be the Taliban. It could be anybody. Could have taken down the networks. I wished it was that easy. First we have to secure all the citizens and get them in a safe place. And I don't think that would be an easy task. I do not think that would be an easy task. I think, though, if you send in enough Marines, they'll keep the way cleared for others to find them, though. But we got to quit playing softball. So, but we're not going to get that with a president with a soft head. It ain't going to happen. Ain't going to happen. If there's anything as far as military intervention, it'd purely be for the military-industrial complex to get their claws back in over there and go back over for another 20 years. And that's what I'm concerned with. Anyway, back more on topic here. We really do have to make an effort to shut down not just the stories, but the sources. The sources. If there are continual sources giving misinformation, we need to speak out about it. Instead of doing the normal human response of clicking because I have to watch it, don't. Because, like, especially with monetized platforms and stuff on YouTube, they benefit. They benefit, that YouTube creator benefits just as much from the haters as they do the lovers. And a lot of times, to be real honest, they benefit more from the haters. Don't enable them. Absolutely not. Don't enable them. I've repeatedly called out misinformation that's being spread by YouTube creators. And I'm not trying to climb my way up some ladder. That's not the intent. The intent is to help folks discern, because some of these YouTube channels out there, people really need to get away from. Really bad information. And just because they present it well, people think it's the truth. And that's dangerous. You know, it's really ironic. You got somebody that can't present something worth a damn here that has never once tried to remotely mislead you. Not once. But I can't present it worth a damn. And I've kind of got these personality, we'll call them bumps. But it is what it is. Howdy, Tracy. Sorry I forgot to put the Patreon link up for the show yesterday. I do that if I schedule the show early in the morning. A lot of times I'll forget to put the Patreon link in. So, and I schedule it when I get smacked. Sometimes it's the Father gives me topics, and sometimes I do. If you see me schedule a show early in the morning, you can thank the Father for that one. So that's how you know. If you see it scheduled late, I was trying to dig something up. So I do think that we're going to see considerable backlash from what happened today. Doesn't look like they're going to be able to spin the firearm thing on it very easily. We'll see if they try, because we haven't heard everything yet. You know, there'll be a lot more coming over the next couple of days, when they tell us everything they found in his home and all of that. But I don't think that they're going to be able to get a real good Second Amendment foothold on this. However, it could cause a lot of other issues. This is not a good time for this. Not a good time at all. And anything like this is not helpful. When you go out and you talk to others about the things going on, and you feel that you're at a point to where you need to let it be known where your line is, because I believe that many of us are going to be put in that situation soon enough. Be tactful. Be tactful. You can say a whole lot without saying it. Be tactful. But at the same time, when I say that, don't mealy mouth. Absolutely not. No. Now's the time to stand your ground and be firm. And when I say that, I don't mean put on the flak jacket and no. Now's the time to where you actually speak, right? But it has to be at a local level, right? Telling me how you feel isn't going to do you any good, because I won't be there to save you. I can't be there to save you. I've got my own responsibility, my own people to save. Trump or whoever it is you vote for, they're not going to be there to save you either. Neither is the friend from Facebook that you know 3 states away that agrees with everything you say. They're not probably going to be there either, unless there was an agreement. I'm seeing a big issue with the local thing. And maybe it's just my location. But I've been kind of trying to peek around and look other locations, and I'm seeing a lot the same. I'm seeing a lot of keyboard commandos online. A lot. But when it gets down to the truly local level, you know, where people know who each other is, same thing that's been happening for the last couple of decades. You got the left that will speak loud and proud and not hold back on a local level, and the right that's apprehensive to open their mouth. That's what's happening. I'm watching it. I tried encouraging. I spoke the last couple of nights about the posts that I put in our local community group, or not that I put in there, that somebody else put in there, about masks and social distancing and stuff. And I even tried to encourage. The other side to speak. Wouldn't do it. To this moment. Nobody from an opposing viewpoint has commented. Now, I also made a post. I shared a post from somebody else here in town that was going to protest. The mask mandate by walking their child to school, I guess, without masks, and they were asking other parents to do the same. And so I posted that from him, and just to open the discussion. And I made it very clear I wasn't posting it because I'm not supporting anything. I have to be neutral there. I'm the founder and administrator of the group, and I want people from both sides to come together and discuss stuff. So that means that I have to bite my own opinion, which is fine, so that I can show them, look, you both have a safe place to come and speak. I'm not going to boot out either side because I don't like their opinion. That's the whole reason I started the page, or the group. But even there was only one person that responded on the post that I had shared, and it was in favor of the masks. And I waited like a full over 24 hours, and I just posted something to the effect, I replied and said, I guess you win, that was easy, I guess you win, LOL. Trying to get somebody to speak up. Not a peep. You tell me where the problem is. We've got to stop being silent. We've got to stop enabling. Silence is enabling. It's certainly not telling anybody no, and telling the guy 3 states away that you're in an echo chamber with isn't going to do any good. You have to do it locally. I mean, there is an alternative. We just continue the way we're going, and one side doesn't speak out locally, and the other side speaks out loud and proud locally, and so then things get instituted that the other side that wouldn't speak to save their lives doesn't like. And we just let this anger build up and build up and build up, and it goes to a place that I don't think any of us want. There's that option. That's what I'm trying to prevent. We can fix what ails this country. I think for the most part peacefully. You're going to have elements that aren't going to be peaceful about anything, regardless. Antifa ring a bell? They don't care. They just want destruction and violence. And I think that's really clear. And you should know by now on this channel, I don't sit there and Antifa everything like some channels do. Absolutely not. But the facts are there. So there are some people that no matter what, you're not going to get away with an easy conversation. I think this is something we better get real busy on real quick. All of us. In our own local communities. We don't. It's not going to be good. It's not going to be good. And the longer we wait, the closer that train or that bus or whatever gets closer. I'd like to keep it outside of town. And I believe the majority of individuals in our location would probably agree. The problem is getting them to speak. The only place they'll speak is in their echo chamber. That's it. Ridiculous. Anyway, I reckon we could move on to headlines. I've rambled on enough. But we need to really shut down these usual suspects when it comes to the conspiracies, the propaganda, and stuff like that. We really got to work on that. Because it does lead to bad things, and I do firmly believe that the gentleman that had an episode today Probably had many of those theories running around in his head. In fact, he kind of alluded to it to some extent. Even though he said it wasn't about politics, it was most definitely about politics. And for the Father's sake, if you go to some type of an anti-vaccine, anti-vaccine rally or an anti-mask rally or something like, leave your Trump crap at home. It's not a Trump rally. You are causing the entire movement nothing but harm when you bring your Trump crap. He's not the president. You need to accept that. You need to get over it for the time being. Maybe 2024, don't know, depends if he runs, but for now, shut it down. Because it's not helping the cause. You're proving at that point, the moment that you have anything like that, you're proving that for you it is a political thing. This should not be about politics, it should be about health and human rights. You illegitimize yourself the moment you bring the Trump garb. If you want to bring something legitimate, bring the Bible. Speaking of which, this one came today. I like it. This is the one I ordered off of Amazon, the Sportsman's Bible, the King James, because I didn't have a physical King James. And so I got here a little early. Father's words are in red, and I like it. I really like it. Nice Bible. I like the little box that they shipped it in, because to me that makes a nice little box to keep it in, to protect it. So, I like it. What was it, $18, I think? So, awesome Bible. I agree, Hexapus. He's absolutely pushing for the injections, and the fact that he was behind Operation Warp Speed to begin with makes me very suspicious. So, I think that this is a big dog and pony show. I really do. And I don't think any good is going to come from it. I really don't. And that's why it's important that, all the things I've covered, that we police ourselves, we have self-discipline, we learn discernment, we practice discernment, that we work at things from the bottom up. All of these things I'm saying for a reason. I don't think we've got a lot of time. I think we are at the end of that. I think we are knocking on the very end of time we have to be able to do anything effective. And when I say that, I think we could do a whole lot effective still at this point just by speaking. Just by speaking. And if we did that on a local level and we really put pressure on a local level, that's going to go back up the chain. That's going to go back up the chain. When you've got your school board superintendent telling whoever it is that's with the state, that's telling them what they got to do, when you've got them saying, look, if you want this instituted, you live down here. You come down here and tell these people. Because I'm not doing it. Once you get those people in charge aware that you're not having it, and you're speaking from a position of strength, that will trend up the ladder, trust me. That's how it's supposed to work. That's how it was designed. We just forgot it and quit doing it. Our so-called elected representatives, they don't fear us. At this point, most of them laugh at us. That is not how it's supposed to work. And I think here of late, I think that's starting to make a trend to changing, to going back, but only here of late. And we've got a whole long way to go with that. But we got to start. Even if it's in a community Facebook group. Got to start. In fact, that's a great place to start. I know there's a lot of hate hate about Facebook and all, and I get that. It's all social media. And this whole running to all kinds of other platforms, it's running from the problem. It's running from the same problem. When are we ever going to stand and plant our feet? When? And there's a hell of a lot more ways to do that than just violence. Hell, we could try speaking. That would be a good start. Let's see. And the website, that reminds me. I'm not sure what month our web hosting goes up, but I'm hoping that by the time that it goes up, that I will be able to actually open an account with a different hosting company. I already know which one and all that. I think the pricing's the same and all that, and it's not necessary I even mention it to you guys, but there will be a transition when that happens, when that time comes, and I'm going to start fresh. So when that happens, it's going to be a brand new fresh website and all that. I'm not going to transfer anything over or anything like that. I'm just going to start from complete scratch. I'm going to, tell them what I need, how many, websites I've got. I think I'm going to let I've got a domain, operationfathersrights.com. It goes up, I believe, the 5th of next month, and I'm probably going to let it go. I don't have the time to deal with that, and I don't think that we collectively have the time to even deal with that. So why hang on to it? But anyway, there will be an entirely new site for the Watchman News and all the other sites. We've got, right now we've got 5, so if I let that one go, we'll still have 4. And then I really want to, if everything doesn't go to hell in a handbasket, I've even got dirtcheappreps.com. That's my domain. I've got it, but there's nothing there. I've not done anything with it yet. And, I don't know, my opinion is that's a pretty damn good domain. But I've got this issue with the web host I've got, and they won't fix it. I'm not the type of person I will keep telling somebody something. Yeah, if I tell somebody twice, I'm starting to get frustrated. 3 times I get really frustrated. But most of the time, I won't even tell somebody twice. If they choose to ignore me, then I will just go about my way of doing what I'm going to do, regardless of what that is. Well, in this instance, it is, I'm just going to different web hosts. I told them I was having issues with emails not sending out, and so I told them about it, and they jerked me around, telling me, oh, it should be fixed now. It's still not fixed. And I told them that there was a problem with the page loading, You may not know it if you're just a visitor to the site, but as somebody that works on the website, constantly, I have to keep reloading because the page time's out. That's not cool at all. Especially because I would like to open up a shop and stuff like that, different stuff. I can't do that if my email servers aren't going to be, sending the emails out. I can't do that if the web page isn't going to load half the time. And so I gave them the chance to fix it. They told me it was fixed. It's not fixed, so we'll be switching hosts as soon as possible. And when I do, it'll be a new website. And I'll have different stuff on there. I don't know what all yet. I did want to get into making ZCO and providing them on the site, as well as decals and just whatever else. I've long had it in my head that I want to make a rebuildable, a repackable water filter, and make those available as well. So, but I can't do it again if I don't have a reliable email server or web server. So, anyway, that just reminded me. Sorry for the big rant. Let's see. I don't think I said this one last night. If not, I'm going to say it again just in case. Gunfire, smoke grenades, and barbed wire. Watch Taliban and U.S. troops struggle to protect Kabul airport from desperate crowds. That news I shared out last night. And we're starting with what I shared from this morning. 1 second. Alright. Now I can't see for the fog. Haiti is on its knees, PM says, as earthquake deaths top 2,100 and tens of thousands of families left homeless. Taliban declares formation of the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan just days after taking over Kabul. Taliban tells scared locals to stay away from Kabul airport after 12 killed by gunfire or in stampedes, says the media. Taliban halts Afghanistan's trade with India through Pakistan, says reports. I mean, I'm just trying to wrap my head around this, because gunships are pretty damn effective. I don't get the inaction. I just do not get the inaction here. U.S. looks to block Taliban from receiving IMF funds reserved for Afghanistan. Ex-Facebook data scientist says Russia not driving COVID-19 conspiracies online, warning Americans really have themselves to blame. Imagine that. The people of China have spoken. Beijing urges release of Huawei executive as 6 million petition Canada to drop extradition case. I'm still trying to wrap my head around this whole thing of, committing a crime. And I'm not saying that they necessarily did. They could be just trumped up charges. Absolutely. But if it is the real deal, where's this logic that other countries have a say in what happens to be an international prosecution? I'm at a loss here. At least 3 killed, 50 injured as grenade thrown at religious procession in Punjab, Pakistan. MasterCard faces $14 billion class action lawsuit in Britain. UK citizen. Oh, that reminds me. Well, not really reminds me, but I'm also seeing a lot of high-level dissing of social media, I guess is the best, one way to put it. Now you've even got presidents of other countries daring Twitter to kick them all. We'll be covering that. But at what point, because not all folks are like American citizens, at what point do these social media heads bite off more than they can chew? At what point do they piss off people from another country that isn't quite as civilized? Just something to ponder. UK citizen set to be deported from Singapore after being handed prison sentence for refusing to wear a mask. Russia won't deploy troops to Afghanistan, instead focusing on making peaceful contact with the Taliban, top Moscow officials reveal. Now I'll tell you what, if Putin really wanted to make one hell of a diplomatic move here, he would secure all of the citizens that are stranded. And I don't care if he does. I don't care who does it. Somebody needs to do something. But could you imagine the international diplomatic impact that that would make if Putin stepped up and said, you know what? We've talked to the Taliban. We're bringing troops in. We're going to secure all the citizens. And we are going to make sure that those citizens get safely out of the country. And then follow through on it. That would have an insane impact on the international outlook of the bear. And like I said, I don't care who does it or how it gets done, as long as it gets done. Kazakh president to participate in Russia's Eastern Economic Forum. And I'm not sure I pronounced that even remotely right. Melbourne enters 200th day of lockdown as Victoria State records highest number of COVID cases during second wave. 200 days of lockdown and still numbers climbing. Interesting. Is it anti-vax to be concerned? Yeah, that is what it said. Magazine editor reports changes to period after COVID jab, the latest in over 30,000 UK women. Okay, I was reading that means changes in the menstrual cycle. For some reason, I couldn't. I'm still trying to wrap my head around that quote. Is it anti-vax to be concerned? Oh, now I get it. Okay, sorry. Sometimes the way things are written doesn't quite hit me right, especially in the in headlines sometimes. Taliban more sober and rational than the last time, says China. Now this was kind of an interesting thing. It says more sober. Were they drunk? Because the last I checked, that wasn't cool with Sharia law. The last I checked. Just wondered. I will certainly say they seem to be more rational, but I don't understand really if they mean sober as in civilized. Well, that's more along the lines of the rational, but I don't want to say the word awake. Please don't make me say the word awake. But yeah, awake. Let's see. Oxford University study claims its AstraZeneca COVID vaccine's effectiveness declines slower than the Pfizer competitor. EU must move quickly to push back against Russian and Chinese influence in Afghanistan or face being made irrelevant, says FM Burrell. I'm pretty sure they already are irrelevant. Catalan court ends Barcelona's nightly COVID curfew after rejecting government's attempt to lower criteria. Son of anti-Soviet Mujahideen commander pleads for the U.S. to supply weapons and ammo against the Taliban. No, we need to quit that. Altogether. We should have never started you to begin with. Or ISIS or the Taliban or Al-Qaeda or any of them. Russian scientists developed new variant of Sputnik V vaccine modified to deal with fast-spreading deadly Delta strain of COVID-19. See, the idea behind this is if you create opposing groups in other countries to start a civil war, you destabilize the country. In case you're curious how that works. And if you pay close attention, you'll see them doing the very same thing right here, right now. For the same reason. Taliban's return to power in Afghanistan is moral victory over Islamism over the West, says top Merkel ally. By the way, and that's why I was so heavy on the bottom-up theory, that this has to be done from the bottom up, because once you do that, the more you're building from the bottom up, you're removing the control from the top. In other words, what I'm getting at is, if you aren't letting people from the outside rile up the people on the inside, then the people on the inside can take care of the issues themselves with each other, and then be a force to reckon with for those on the outside when they try to come in with their crap. If you call all that. I did. Let's see. UK Foreign Minister accused of dereliction of duty after not making urgent call to help airlift Afghan translators, says reports. Part of Library of Congress told to evacuate as police check suspicious vehicle for explosives. Protests against the Taliban spread to Kabul as people marched along the streets with Afghan flags. Washington Post accused of providing PR to Taliban after arguing group incites less violence than Trump on Twitter. And this is what I'm saying. People are so careless with what they say. Absolutely careless with what they say. The only thing they want to do is get that dig in. That's insanity. That is insanity. But again, nobody's really standing up and putting a stop to the other side and their claims. The whole insurrection thing, that needs to be put to bed. Show me one person that was charged with insurrection. Show me one person that was charged with insurrection. Because I'm sorry, if not a soul was charged with insurrection, then why the hell are we calling it an insurrection? And I would think that those individuals that were involved with that ordeal on the Capitol grounds, I would think that they probably have a defamation suit. And I hope they use it. Alleged poisoning of opposition figure Navalny was provocation aimed at discrediting Russia in the eyes of the world, Moscow claims. Welsh government blasted over catastrophic record NHS waiting list as COVID pandemic exacerbates delays to hospital treatment. Let's see. Ban for hating Russia. Politicians from pro-Putin party suggest prohibiting Russophobes and Nazis from entering the country. Kickstarter hires comics creator Liaison, who is accused of mass blocking comic creators on Twitter. COVID deaths in Iran climb above 100,000 as Delta variant fuels fifth wave. America's hasty retreat from Afghanistan should be a warning to Ukraine that it can't count on Washington, says a Russian security chief. Which goes along the same lines as the rhetoric as China's telling Taiwan right now. So I really do think that in a not so distant future we're going to have conflict, major military conflict. Outrage as London's violence against women and girls board chair says she was sacked over concerns about trans access to refugees. Anti-war activists mock CNN as it cries over $1 trillion worth of desperately needed minerals left behind in Afghanistan. EU countries bordering Belarus given handout by Brussels to deal with tsunami of refugees fleeing through Eastern European nation. EU says import of Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccines from Africa is only temporary after WHO boss stunned by the news. Afghanistan youth international footballer dies after being crushed by the wheels of a U.S. plane he clung to in an attempt to flee. I can only assume that was the one that we had reported on before. So it's a shame. It truly is. Truly a shame. Former UK MP charged with 7 counts of fraud over allegedly false parliamentary invoices. Apple's new child safety features face fresh challenge over censorship and privacy from over 90 rights groups. Man, I am glad to see people jumping all over this. New York police evacuate some areas of Times Square due to suspicious package amid bomb threat situation in Washington, D.C. And I never did follow up on that, but it sounded initially, right from the get-go, that it was a bunch of nothing. So apparently it was some type of a 10, I guess, is initially what was being said, that was tossed at a group of people or something. So Pentagon does not know how many Americans are still in Afghanistan or how many were among the 7,000 evacuated so far. It's a nightmare situation, it sounds like, over there. An absolute just... I don't know. I don't know the answers. Have no idea. But inaction should not be an option. But at this point, it seems what's happening. A man whose home was raided by the FBI says he was just joking with memes. When he threatened to firebomb the Israeli embassy. I don't even remember that happening. A D.C. bomb suspect claims explosives-laden truck is one of 5 and warns detonation could destroy city blocks in live stream. And that was another thing that I knew was BS, is that there were other vehicles, other devices. But you could tell. His body language and everything else, you could tell. So, and again, there was a number of things that I'm not going to speak on because I'm not going to give anybody a laundry list. Let's see. Police say man in pickup near Capitol claims he has a bomb. UK, France, and Germany criticize Iran's uranium enrichment despite nuclear deal falling apart due to U.S. withdrawal and sanctions. A mother of Scottish soldier killed in Afghanistan demands answers for chaotic withdrawal. Polish Regional Council votes to retain LGBT-free stance despite risk of €2.5 billion EU funding loss. Putin discusses Afghanistan with France's President Macron and Italy's Prime Minister Draghi. Let's see. OnlyFans to ditch sexually explicit content to please skittish investors. I was shocked when I read that headline because that is essentially what, as far as I know, people use that site for. I don't know. I've never even been on the website, but it's kind of hard to not know what it is. And I'm giddy over it. I think it's great. I don't promote that kind of stuff, so I think it's great. In fact, I'm probably at some point, just for a good time, I'm probably going to be putting a shirt up like that, and I know you can't see it real super well, but I'm probably going to be putting a shirt up like that on Teespring, so look out for it. Yahub, but looking like the Pornhub logo. Let's see. U.S. government charging Americans $2,000 or more to fly out of Afghanistan after $2 trillion war ends in withdrawal. Germany enters fourth COVID-19 wave. Health watchdog warns amid uptick in younger patients. Ban me like Trump. Serbian president dares Twitter as media labeled government collaborators invoke Nazi censorship and NATO bombing. And there is a number one up there. Facebook bought and buried rivals because it lacks talent to compete fairly, the FTC claims, and revived antitrust suit. Would be nice to see them get broken up. Hang on. Getting it shared out. Well, that was a dumb move. I can fix it, I think. Told ya. That's so awesome that what do I use? Streamlabs lets me do that, because Wirecast wouldn't. If I accidentally closed out a screen that I didn't intend to, a window or whatever, nope, you got to restart the entire program in order to get it back, or put in a new instance of it. Either one, it's easier to restart the program. But if you're already live, well, that's not an easy option either. So it's crazy times we are in, folks. I don't know of anything else I've got for you. I think that pretty much wraps it up. I am going to get out of here, and I'm going to relax, and I'm going to try to have an enjoyable couple of days off. I have a feeling, though, that you're going to see me. I have a feeling that you're going to see me. Not by choice. I just got this sneaky suspicion that there's going to be some big stuff happen between now and Sunday. So, we'll see. But keep doing the do. Keep getting ready. Keep preparing. Keep your eyes open. And talk to people. Anyway, I am out of here. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend and a wonderful Shabbat, or whatever it is that you choose to do. So I hope you all just get some relaxation in, but don't take your eye off the ball. So with that, we love you all. God bless you all. Be one with your spirit. And shalom.